Frollo's soldiers swarmed the streets of Paris, ransacking houses and shops in their search for Esmeralda. When they didn't find her, Frollo grew incensed. He paced up and down in front of the little bakery, not far from the cathedral. Have the men break down the door, he told Phoebus. She'd got to be around here somewhere. The soldiers stormed inside. In a few moments, they appeared with a small group of gypsies. They were hiding inside, sir, a soldier reported to Frollo. Frollo approached a white-haired man. 10 pieces of silver reward for the whereabouts of the woman Esmeralda, he said. The old man turned away without a word. Anyone else? Asked Frollo. I'm sure you can't resist the money. He received no response. Look them up, ordered Frollo. Sir, Phoebus inquired, is this worth all of merely the capture of the gypsy woman? Frollo declared, Are you questioning my judgment? No, your honor, but I am uneasy with, Phoebus began. A soldier galloped up a horseback. A gypsy talesman has been found on the miller's property, he informed Frollo. Frollo smiled. Well then, he said, we must pay the miller a little visit. The miller answered the knock on his door. His wife stood behind him, holding a baby in her arms. Another child peeked out from behind her dress. Good day, Minister Frollo, he said. What brings you? Frollo pushed him back and burst inside. You have been harboring gypsies, he demanded. My wife and I always open our door to any weary traveller, said the miller. Have mercy, my lord. I'm placing you and your family under house arrest until I get to the bottom of this, Frollo told him. If what you say is true, and you are innocent, you have nothing to fear. You will find that I am innocent, the miller said. Frollo left the mill and shut the door. He mounted his horse, took a flaming torch from one of his soldiers, and handed it down to Phoebus. Burn the mill! Phoebus was shocked. With all due respect, sir, I wasn't trained to murder the innocent, but you were trained to follow orders, Frollo said. Phoebus looked Frollo straight in the eye. Not the orders of a madman, he declared, exercising the torch in the barrel of water. Insulting word, barked Frollo. I'll do it myself. Frollo grabbed another torch from one of his men and set fire to the mill. The flames quickly spread to the thatched roof. Phoebus leaped through a window into a smoke-filled mill. In a short time, he emerged with the children sobbing in his arms. The miller and his wife stumbled out behind him. Captain Phoebus, Frollo cried out, you will be punished for all the insolence. He mentioned to his soldiers, seizure him. Not far away, peering coquettishly from the folds of her cloak, Esmeralda watched in horror. Hurriedly, she searched about for a stone. Then, taking careful aim, she threw it. The stone zinged toward Frollo and struck his horse squarely on the rump. The startled animal reeled, and Frollo was thrown to the ground. Before the confused soldiers could react, Phoebus leaped onto Frollo's horse and galloped towards the river. Shoot him! Cried Frollo. Don't let him escape! The soldiers rode hard after the escaping captain. Just as he reached the bridge over the river, an arrow struck Phoebus in the shoulder. Losing his grip on his reins, he fell from the horse's back and onto the water. into the water. Frollo trotted up and studied the river closely. All he could see were air bubbles. "Well done," he said to his men. "Now get back to town. You must find that woman, even if you have to burn every building to the ground." Concealed at the base of the bridge, Esmeralda watched them go. Then she slipped into the water. She surfaced with Phoebus in her grasp and strong strokes swam for shore. At nightfall, Frollo, astride his stallion, surveyed the blazing streets of Paris. A sergeant rode up to him. "We've looked everywhere," he reported. "There's still no sign of the gypsy woman. Shall I call off the search?" For a few moments, Frollo sat still and studied Notre Dame, slanted against the fiery sky. He was puzzled. How in the world had she escaped from the cathedral with the guard posted at every door? As he raised his eyes to the cathedral bell tower, it suddenly came up to him. Quasimodo had defied him. He helped. The wretch which held her fate, as the shock in his initial anger subsided, a sly smile crossed Frollo's face. "Not just yet," the wise minister told the sergeant. "I still have one more card to play." Quasimodo watched in alarm from the bell tower. "The whole city's burning down," he cried. "Quasi, pay attention," said Victor. "It's your turn." Quasimodo waved his arms towards the window. "How can you play cards at a time like this? Just look out there." "Don't worry," said Hugo. "Cathedrals are fireproofs." "I'm not worried about us," said Quasimodo. "I'm worried about Esmeralda. From what I've seen, Esmeralda can take care of herself," said Laverne. Quasimodo looked out over the glowing city. "I don't know. This is really dangerous." "Well, things cool off," Laverne assured him. "She'll be back, you'll see." "What makes you so sure?" Quasimodo asked. "'Cause she likes you," said Laverne. "Do you think so?" asked Quasimodo, looking doubtfully. "Sure," said Hugo. "You're a swell guy, one of a kind, and another thing. Wait a second." He suddenly cupped his hand to his ear. "Somebody's coming." "Quasimodo, are you there?" called a voice. "It's Esmeralda," cried Quasimodo. He ran to the door. Esmeralda's hair hung in dump strings around her face. Her soiled cloak clung to her. "What happened?" gasped Quasimodo. "Are you all right?" Esmeralda took his hand in hers. "I'm fine," she said. "I was lucky one of the guards fell asleep and I sneaked past him, but I have to ask for your help again." "Anything?" he told her. Esmeralda motioned to someone waiting on the steps. In a moment, two gypsy men carried Phoebus unsuccessfully into the room. Charlie trotted behind. "He was shot by one of Frollo's men," Esmeralda explained. Her eyes grew teary. "Will you keep him here?" Quasimodo nodded, and the men placed Phoebus on the bed. Phoebus's eyes were fluttered open. "Esmeralda," she put her finger lightly on his hips. "Shh! You'll hide here until you're strong enough to move." Quasimodo brought a bowl of water and clean rag. "Fortune must have been with you, Phoebus," Esmeralda said, cleaning his wound. "The arrow must pierce your heart." Phoebus smiled weakly and kissed her hand. "I'm not so sure it didn't." Esmeralda leaned over and kissed him back. Quasimodo felt his own heart break. Stifling a sob, he turned away.